I'm Alyssa, and today I'm sharing with you my September 2020 favorites. If you're new to my channel and don't know what favorites are, that's where I list my favorite movies, TV shows, video games, and books that I loved in the previous month. And I've started integrating my Letterboxd into this. Let me know what you think about that. But yeah, I'll have everything time-stamped down below in case you want to skip to a different category. But let's go! So the first movie I watched in September was The Last House on the Left, which is a horror franchise, not franchise, but a horror staple. And I didn't care for it. I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars. The last half was much better than the first half. It is brutal, and I know at the time it was extreme. But it just isn't a very good movie nowadays. I do appreciate that it helped jumpstart Wes Craven's career because it was his first feature film that wasn't of an adult variety. Let's just put it like that. And I like that it paved the way for A Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream, which are two of my favorite horror movies of all time, but this just did not do it for me. I'm sorry if you love the original Last House on the Left, I just didn't. Now the second movie is The Thing, which was a rewatch for me. It's a classic, get 5 out of 5 stars, showed it to my dad. I think he thought it was too gory, but you know, I freaking loved The Thing. I loved the practical effects. I loved how creepy it was, how the tension, you could cut it with a knife. You never knew what was going to happen unless you'd watched the movie before. But it's great. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Third is Birds of Prey. This is the third time I've watched it. I have fun every time I watch it. It's 4 out of 5 stars. John Wick Chapter 2 is next. Again, that's a rewatch, about the third time I saw that one because I love me some John Wick and Keanu. 4 stars. The next one I think I'm going to get some disagreements on, but that's I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It just came out on Netflix not too long ago, at the beginning of September, and I wasn't a big fan of the book, to be honest, but I love Charlie Kaufman as a writer and director. The cast is phenomenal, so I thought it might be good. I found it really boring. I will admit the performances were excellent, the dialogue was beautiful, it just didn't do it for me. I was just so bored. And I know a lot of people love it. Like, if you look at the ratings, it's got a 3.6 out of 5. For most people, I gave it 2, I think, or 2.5. And the people I follow, they give it 4, 4.5, there's a 3.5. I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm not that sorry I didn't like it. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. The next movie was another rewatch. That's 1917. Phenomenal movie. Showed it to my dad. Gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Again, it's just an amazing war film. And the performances are incredible. I love seeing really, really iconic British actors like Colin Firth, Benedict Cumberbatch, Andrew Scott, Hot Priest. I love Andrew Scott, guys. It's kind of insane. Just pop up Richard Madden, and it's filmed in a way that makes it look like it's one take, even though it's not. It's a thrill ride. It's just so gripping. Next up is Inmate Number 1, The Rise of Danny Trejo. I adored Danny Trejo, and this documentary was amazing. I actually showed it to my dad a few days after I watched it initially. Gave it 5 out of 5 stars because I thought it was really well done. It just covers Danny's life before he started being an actor. It's shocking to hear what he did and how his childhood unfurled, but it's also really inspirational and hopeful, and then it chronicles his Hollywood career, and just hearing from Danny himself and his colleagues and family members, it's just so uplifting and enlightening, and he has the most infectious laugh. Oh my gosh. I fell even more in love with Danny Trejo after this, and I highly recommend you watch this. Even if you're not a fan of him, his story is so compelling, and this is such a well done documentary that I think you'll really enjoy it. And it's got a really high rating, as you can see, so I think it's worth a watch. Another movie I loved was Unpregnant on HBO Max. Gave it 4 out of 5 stars. This was just so cute. I did not know what to expect going in, but it stars Haley Lu Richardson and Barbie Ferreira. Haley Lu Richardson plays a teen who ends up pregnant, and she wants to terminate the pregnancy, but in her state it's not legal to do so, so she has to travel all the way to New Mexico. And of course, stuff happens along the way that tries to deter their destination, but you know, it's about how female friendships form, bond, break, can reform. It shows, you know, how strong women are. It shows what our society is like today. It's just really well done and really heartfelt. I highly recommend you watch it. Most people seem to love it. There are some lower scores, but I didn't know what to expect going in besides the general premise, and I freaking love the movie. Another rewatch was Knives Out. Give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think this is an excellently crafted whodunit murder mystery, very in the vein of Agatha Christie. Rian Johnson did a phenomenal job with this. Adored the entire cast, but of course Daniel Craig and Ana de Armas are the standouts. And oh my gosh, I'd love to see more Benoit Blanc films because this was so good. It's funny. It keeps your interest. Even on a second watch, even when you know what happens, who the culprit is, it's still really entertaining. And it's just such a well-crafted story that Rian Johnson created. And it's just, it blew my mind to see such a Agatha Christie-esque story today. So yeah, I recommend Knives Out if you haven't watched it. Next up, The Babysitter Killer Queen. I love the first Babysitter movie. This is on Netflix. And the second film is not as good, but it's still highly entertaining, very colorful, very, very gory. And it's just, it's heartwarming and it's funny at points. Sometimes the jokes don't land. But I like the Babysitter franchise. And if you like the first movie, you're gonna like this one. Didn't like the first movie, you're not gonna like this one. Just to put that out there. But you can see it's got some pretty low scores. I thought more highly of it. You just don't go in expecting a masterpiece. It's schlocky. It's B-movie-ish, but it's fun. Also, rewatched Signs for the first time in a few years. Again, 3.5 stars. It's not my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie, but it is thrilling. It is captivating. I loved seeing Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix interact, and I forgot that Abigail Breslin was the little girl in this, and who was the boy? Rory Culkin. I always forget which Culkin it is. I know it's not Macaulay, but I'm always like, is it Rory? Or, I know I say that weird. Or Kieran. It's Rory. Rory. Yeah, there we go. But it's a good sci-fi movie. Good alien movie. There's a lot of tension. Definitely watch it if you haven't. But yeah, I watched Signs. The next movie is #Alive. I really, really enjoyed this. This is a Korean zombie film. It does have a dub on Netflix, but the dub does not match up with the mouths. So if you use the dub, don't pay attention to the way their mouths are moving. Just pay attention to what's happening on screen. Because it's bad. It doesn't match their lips. But I mean, the overall dub is good. Like, the voice acting's good. It's just the dub itself doesn't match up with the lips, and it's distracting if you pay attention to it. But #Alive, I hate saying hashtag, but it's the title. It's a really good zombie film that turns the genre on its head a bit, throws in some unexpected twists and turns, and I thought it was a really original film, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, I believe. I have to go back and look, but yeah, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's really good. I highly recommend it if you want a zombie film to watch this Halloween. Next up is The Devil All the Time. This is a very divisive movie, but I loved it. It's one of my favorite of the year so far. Excellent. Robert Pattinson stole the show for me. He was so incredible. He completely transforms into a different character. You know he's Robert Pattinson, but when you hear him and you see him, you're like, he's Robert Pattinson, but he's not Robert Pattinson. He did such a phenomenal job. But the rest of the cast is so good too, like Bill Holland. I'm combining Bill Skarsgård and Tom Holland. I'm so stupid sometimes. It's also got Riley Keough, Jason Clarke, Sebastian Stan, Haley Bennett, so many people, and I really liked Antonio Campos's previous film before this, Christine. But I do have to say that this is again, very divisive film because it's brutal, it's depressing, nothing happy happens in this movie. Let me just tell you that. There are scenes that will make you squirm and feel uncomfortable. It's just, you have to watch it to see it. I can't really say much without spoiling the entire story, but you just watch it, see it, make up your own mind about it, but I loved it. 4.5 out of 5 stars. Now the next two are both shorts from David F. Sandberg and his wife, Loda Loston. I think I said that right. If I didn't, I'm sorry. Not Alone in Here and Shadow. They were both 3.5 out of 5 stars for me. They're really interesting short films, and if you don't know David F. Sandberg, he did the feature film of Lights Out, which was based off his own short film, Lights Out, on YouTube. These are both on YouTube, by the way. He also directed Shazam and Annabelle Creation. But yeah, these were effective movies. I thought they were a little too short. I would like for them to have been a few minutes longer, but they're effective. They did actually make me jump. The next film is Antebellum, which I think I enjoyed more than the majority of people. I do see why people don't agree with it. I do see how it's problematic, but for me, I really liked how original it was, the twists and turns it took. Janelle Monáe was a powerhouse. I actually did a review of this with my friend on the Deep Focus Cinema podcast, so I'll have that linked in the description box down below so you can watch the whole interview if you want to. But be warned, we do talk about spoilers in the podcast, so watch it if you've seen it or if you don't care about seeing it. But I had a lot of fun, just watching this film, and it actually surprised me because I saw the bad reviews. I thought I was going to hate it. I actually enjoyed it. 3.5 out of 5 stars. Better than average, so I liked it. Also, 3.5 out of 5 stars, Dawn of the Dead, the Zack Snyder 2004 version. First time I had watched it, I know I should have seen this way sooner. It was very effective. There were some points I thought it was a little too slow, but I did really like how, again, they kind of turned the zombie genre on its head a little bit. Not too much, but, it was interesting. Some of the acting could have been better, to be honest, but I liked the way the story twisted and turned. I liked the ending. Oh my gosh, the ending. And the sound design. Oh my gosh. I have a new 4K TV, and the sound, I kept thinking I was hearing people banging on doors behind me, and it was just coming from my TV. I don't have surround sound. It was amazing. The sound design is incredible, and the practical effects are great. I like this movie, and a lot of people love this movie, and it was recommended to me by my friend Carlos Sutton, who has a YouTube channel. And yeah, it's great. It's great. Next up is A Love Song for Latasha. This is a short documentary on Netflix. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It is very effective. It's very emotional. It's only 19 minutes long, and it kind of is filmed in a way that it's like a music video mixed with a documentary, mixed with like almost a spoken word poem. And it tells the story of Latasha Harlan and her death. It's insane. Like, the way she died is just horrendous. And you hear from her cousin and her best friend, and I had tears in my eyes after I watched it. Again, it's only 19 minutes. You can watch it fairly quickly on Netflix. It's really worth a watch. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. But if I didn't, there you go. I also watched for the first time Don't Look Now, Nicholas Roeg's classic film that has a very controversial sexy time scene, if you get my drift. But it is a very, very... It almost feels personal because it involves the death of a child and how parents grieve the loss of their child. And, oh my gosh, that ending... The cinematography was beautiful. The way Nicholas Roeg had this film edited was just top notch. Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie are fantastic as the grieving parents, and this movie just kept me hooked. And I'm gonna have to watch it again just to kind of get everything in my head put together and to pick up on details I missed beforehand and themes I missed beforehand, because there are so many themes woven into the film, metaphors woven in, that it's so easy to miss on your first watch. So I did really love Don't Look Now and am anticipating watching it again in the future. The next one is not actually a movie, but it was on here, so I just listed it, and that is Parasite the Maxim. It is an anime series that is 24 episodes long. You can watch it on Netflix or Hulu, subbed or dubbed. It is amazing. Now, it does have body horror, so if that's not your thing, this anime is not going to be for you. It's very gory. Every episode is gory. It's shocking. It's brutal. But that's why I love it. And it also has some really powerful emotional beats. The animation is gorgeous. The ending credit in particular, just... I don't know why. I love it so much. The opening credit song is great as well. but the ending song is just, oh, I love it. Freaking love it. The characters in this are so well fleshed out, and they all have different personalities, and they're just, you just feel like you know them, and you love them or you hate them, but they feel human, even though a lot of these characters aren't human because there's parasitic aliens taking over humans, making them feast on other humans. That's all I'm going to say about the plot, but it's really great. And if you haven't watched it and you're into anime, or you're looking to get into anime and you don't mind body horror and brutality, check out Parasite the Maxim. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Also rewatched The Invisible Man, the 2020 version. I think Lee Wanell is a very promising upcoming director. I loved Upgrade, his film before this, and also Insidious 3, which he directed. I just think Elizabeth Moss was excellent as Cecilia, who is escaping a very abusive relationship, and she finds out her partner has died, but has he really died? Because she keeps being haunted by an invisible entity. You have to watch the film to find out. I really loved it. A lot of people loved it. It was a surprise horror hit at the beginning of the year before, you know, Rona closed all the theaters. But it was a good time, and even on the second watch, it's a really good time, and you can tell Lee Wanell took a lot of pride in his interpretation of this classic. I watched Enola Holmes, which I'm a huge sucker for British films. I'm a sucker for Sherlock Holmes, and Enola Holmes is focused on Sherlock and Mycroft Holmes' younger sister, Enola, who is played wonderfully by Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. It is a little too long and padded out, but I thought Enola Holmes' character is just so freaking adorable and cute. She has definitely got the potential to be like her older brother Sherlock. By the way, Henry Cavill, he's so dreamy as Sherlock. He's not the best Sherlock, but he's dreamy. I think he's probably the most handsome Sherlock, to be completely honest. Shallow, okay? But I loved Henry Cavill as Sherlock in this, mainly because he's Henry Cavill as Sherlock. But back to Enola Holmes. I really like this movie. It is directed by Fleabag's director, so if you didn't like Fleabag, you know, be like, huh, to the camera, the same thing happens in this movie. She talks to the camera, looks at the camera often, is fourth wall breaking, so if that bugs the crap out of you, I was going to say the S word, but I'm trying to be friendly here, you're not going to like Enola Holmes. It's going to bug you. But if you don't mind that, if you liked Fleabag, and you want Fleabag mixed with Sherlock Holmes, mixed with some adventure and mystery, you know, check out Enola Holmes. It is a little too long. I will grant it that. That's a flaw. But for the most part, it's charming, it's warm and cozy, and it keeps your interest. So, it is on Netflix. The cast is fantastic, has a lot of British powerhouses. And yeah, 3.5 out of 5 stars. And the last film I watched in September was Dark Water. And oh my gosh, this film had me sobbing by the end. My voice is also going, I have a lot of video left to do. But this is directed by the same director of Ringu, Hideo Nakata, and this is just such a powerful story. It's about a woman named Yoshimi who is divorcing her husband, and she wants primary custody of her daughter. So she has to find an apartment so her and her daughter Ikuko can live in, and she can get custody. So she gets this super cheap apartment that has this weird water stain on the ceiling, and once they move in, they start seeing things. The stain in the ceiling becomes bigger and starts dripping more water on the floor. And it's just a very effective story. It combines 3 different people's storylines and makes them into a cohesive whole. And they're all connected by sorrow and by abandonment. And it's just so sad. It is genuinely chilling. There are some scary moments. But it's sad. It's so sad. But it's so well done. Oh my gosh, I love this movie. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I might increase my rating on a second viewing, but oh man, this movie was it. So now let's move on to what I loved TV-wise in September. First up is The Boys Season 2. Oh my gosh, this is on Amazon Prime Video, and if you saw the first season, you know it's brutal. There's nothing that is off the table for what can be shown on this show, and the second season ups the ante from 11 to 100 real quick. That was not good, Alyssa. But I just love how it continues the first season story, adds new elements in, and oh my gosh, it's mind-blowing. Watch it. If you're into superheroes and you don't mind gore, check out The Boys. It turns the superhero genre on its head. I know I've said that so many times in this video, but not the superhero part, the genre on its head part. But it shows the evil side of superheroes, and it's it actually is a reflection of the world today as it is. I already talked about Parasite the Maxim in the movie portion, so just remember I love that. I also really loved Ratched, which is on Netflix, and I know not everyone's going to love this or loved it, but I did. I was really interested in the origin story of Mildred Ratched, who is the nurse from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Sarah Paulson is always an actress that interests me, and she plays Mildred Ratched in this series. But Ryan Murphy is one of the developers of this series, which I love American Horror Story and American Crime Story, Feud. Pretty much everything he does I love, and this is no exception. I just love seeing how creepy Mildred Ratched was. I love seeing what went on at Lucia State Hospital where she gets a job at. And I like seeing the lengths she would go to get what she wanted. And it does actually give her multiple facets. You see different sides of Mildred Ratched. She's not just this evil nurse. She has some other sides too. Some sensitive sides, loving sides, caring sides, also some evil and sadistic sides. It's an interesting miniseries. Oh, it's not really a miniseries anymore. There's going to be a second season, I guarantee you. It's an interesting series that I recommend you check out on Netflix if you're into Ryan Murphy stuff. If you're interested in the origin story of Nurse Ratched, check it out. It's very colorful and stylish, brutal. It's great. The game I loved in September was Tell Me Why. This is a 3-episode game by Don't Nod, who also created the Life is Strange games. Tell Me Why focuses on 2 siblings, Tyler and Allison. Tyler is transgender. He's a trans male. And I thought the representation was pretty good. I cannot say for sure that it's the best it could be since I'm cisgender, but I appreciated what they did with the story, and I love the characters. I love both Tyler and Allison. I love their relationship. I love the citizens of the town that they lived in, Delos Crossing. The choices I had to make, some of them were really hard. Some of them I was kind of like, should I do this? Should I do that? It was really interesting. I enjoyed the puzzles they put into each episode because it made me think a little bit more. I liked how they delved into topics about mental health and addiction. It's just a really powerful story, and since it's only 3 episodes, you can finish this game in about 8 or 9 hours, I would say. It's on Game Pass right now if you have an Xbox or PC, so I'd highly recommend you do that. Play it on those systems. I think it's only available on those systems right now. I could be wrong though. Let me know if I'm wrong. But tell me why. Worth it. Good Lord, and my voice is gone! The last thing I loved in the month was a book, and that is If Only by Melanie Murphy. I love Melanie Murphy's social channels. She is a fantastic YouTuber. I love just following her on Instagram. And I did read her first novel, which was an autobiography / self-help book. This is her first feature novel, and it's just so freaking cute. If you love romantic movies or romantic novels, you will love If Only. If Only follows Erin Beglin, who is a 30-year-old woman who is Irish, but she is living in London for her career. She just called off her wedding. She doesn't know what she's doing with her life, her career. So one day she goes and visits her granny in Ireland, and her granny gives her a pendant. And the pendant allows Erin to say, if only, blah, blah, blah. It'll take her back in time to if she had made a different decision, and it shows her life from that decision. I just love the butterfly effect in general. I love to see it in books and films and games. And this was just really cool to see how someone's life can change over a really small or large decision. I loved Erin. I loved pretty much every character in this book that you're supposed to love. I did think one thing was a little bit rushed, but overall, I really love this book and would recommend it if you're looking for something cheerful and cozy and something that you're gonna fly through, because even though it's about 400 pages, I finished it in about 2 days' time. So definitely recommend it. So those are all my favorites for September 2020. Let me know what you loved in September or right now down below in the comment box. The damn phone's ringing again because it always rings when I film a video, so hold on. If you like this video, leave a like. Share this video if you liked it. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Tap the notification bell so you'll be alerted whenever I upload a new video. And as always, if you want to follow me on social media, those sites are listed in the description box below the video. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!